Oh, hey there! Should I make a joke like, hey, I'm fake writing? No, you guys, I like it, okay. Hey, it's number one best-selling author and motivational speaker, Erik Qualman. Most of you know me as Equalman. On today's 7 Super Tips show, we have the founder of Google, or one of them, Sergey Brin.
If you sort of continue that trajectory, you do see more and more people that have been freed up over the past couple hundred years to do work that is, more kind of thinking about things or creating things, seeking aesthetics, whether it is in an intellectual domain or a purely artistic domain. And I would hope to see that trend continue. And I would hope that the world would find an opportunity. This is where I think education becomes very important. And I think broad education. Yeah. But as some of these jobs are displaced, giving people the opportunity to get educated from the point of view of having actually the education resources, the financial wherewithal to be able to pursue that. Like, you don't want to be studying Shakespeare and going hungry or something like that. And being somewhat open-minded, giving people a chance to develop different skills that aren't necessarily, okay, we have 5,000 needs for this exact kind of thing today. Because probably the thing that you want exactly 5,000 of today is the thing that also is more realistically automatable. So I think it's important for people to be able to have freedom to study, financial opportunity to study, and to get meaning. I think in addition to work being an important way that we exchange money and whatnot, people find profound meaning in their day-to-day jobs.
It's very rewarding when you work on something you think is going to make a big difference. And yeah, it's a little bit harder, but I think the passion that one might bring with it brings so much more energy to that you're more likely to succeed.
When I became interested in data mining, for example, Rajeev helped to create a group that within the computer science department would regularly meet on the subject of data mining, and a lot of great work came out of that. I would say that even though Rajeev was not technically my advisor, almost all of the work that I did, and including the work behind Google, he played an equally important role. When I shifted, because of Google, to entrepreneurship, and I left the world of academia, I was afraid that I would lose touch with Rajeev. But of course, he was there too. And in fact, Rajeev was a longtime advisor to us at Google. And whenever I would meet another entrepreneur in whatever setting, it was pretty likely that Rajeev had a role with that person, giving them a critical insight, making key connection. He was just everywhere all the time. I think that all the people in this room can attest how wide an impact Rajeev made, both in academia and in industry. Now, mathematicians have their Erdos number, and actors have their Bacon number. I think here in technology and Silicon Valley, we have our Motwani number. Many of the people in this room, including myself, are very lucky. We have the Motwani number of 1. He directly inspired us, and he directly led us on paths through our lives. And because his door was always open, as I said before, there are probably 1,000 of us with Motwani number 1. Now, if we in turn were to inspire, each of us was to inspire another 1,000 people in the way that Rajeev inspired us, then there would be 1 million people who have the Motwani number 2. And they in turn can inspire others to a circle of incredible size. Like a redwood tree in a forest
plants thousands of seedlings that then in turn they grow to form a grove around the original tree. And they spur even more trees still. Rajeev's legacy will live forever. Each of us has a little bit of Rajeev Motwani inside of us. It's a parting gift so that we can try to achieve the standards that he set. I plan to use that gift as best as I can. Every day, I will try to help someone. Every day, I will try to dream up something new. Every day, I will try to teach someone. And every day, I will try to enjoy my life just a little bit more. What better day to start than today?
There's really no magic secret to it. There's not like there's some formula which tells you if you're going to do this problem, then that problem, then the other problem, you'll magically achieve success. I mean, it comes down to some preference, some intuition, and mostly, truthfully, it comes down to luck. But if you never try, you know you will not succeed. And by trying in areas that you think might be fruitful, then eventually you are likely to end up with a success. First of all, I'm very lucky to have been in Silicon Valley, and Silicon Valley is very lucky to have been able to benefit from, the semiconductor boom, and then software, and now internet and mobile. I think it's there's a huge amount of luck there. But the luck also comes from taking many shots. So many failures. If I told you all the dumb things that I did, we'd have to have a much longer session. And the successes, they often are chance. I mentioned the Google Brain work that they were just off in the corner. I was like, okay, fine, just do your thing. Verily, which is our subsidiary that does a wide range of healthcare innovation now, really started with this glucose sensing contact lens project. And that was another one where I said, this fellow Babak and Brian Otis, who were working on it, and they wanted to put a computer in a contact lens. And I was like, you know what, that sounds crazy, but you go do your crazy thing. You can only have a couple people work on it. I'm not going to give you a lot of resources. But sure, if you put a computer in contact lens, good for you. And yet here they are, a few years later, and they're, running, they're doing serious studies now. They have a big partnership with Novartis and Alcon, and they are, hopefully going to bring those to market alongside with a bunch of other projects that has spawned. And I didn't know anything about that, and I never would have predicted or guessed that. I think we're just lucky to have the environment that tolerates, making lots of risky bets and tolerating the failures that inevitably result.
The other thing that we've really found over time at Google, watching at other companies, watching many of you, is the importance of the development cycle and how you really need to be able to churn quickly through things. And because, obviously you're going to have failures. You're going to have the wrong idea. But it's important to fail quickly. It was great that fax didn't go through. It failed quickly. I think that if you demand a really long development cycle, like let's consider that tokamak that we saw earlier today, having decades and tens of billions of dollars is not a good way to fail quickly. It's hoping to get a lot of learnings along the way, it's just much less likely to work out. So as Vinod said, and we discussed this, so with Glass, we adopted this philosophy. We were going to develop a completely new version of the hardware and software every single month. And we sustained that, or close to it, for like 7 versions. It's slowed now over time, unfortunately, as we're approaching something that's going to ship. But I think that iteration made a huge difference, and we learned so much with every single variant. And it's just, there are 100 reasons why you should not go that fast. It takes a long time to get your tools made. And in fact, the tooling is a big deal. So I'm glad somebody's working on that. Engineers don't have enough time to do a proper design. This gets shortchanged, that gets shortchanged. I mean, there are 100 reasons not to go fast. But in the end, I'm really glad that we did. And I think I've seen that across a range of products. And ultimately, it forces you to make real trade-offs about what actually is really important. And things that you might have held very dear, say, well, maybe that's not really the key thing. And maybe what we can get in this next month is the really important essence of this thing we're trying to create.
I think if there were a couple areas that were critical, then that would be too vulnerable a spot to be in a way. I mean, there are many opportunities to broadly use technology to impact the world and to have a successful business, and we try to invest in at least in the places where we see a good fit to our company. But that could be many bets, and only a few of them need to pay off. I guess from my perspective, running Google X, that's kind of my job is to invest in a number of opportunities, each one of which may be a big bet. But I hope, well, I guess you have a portfolio too, but I hope across that portfolio, some of them pay off. And some of them are connected to our existing business and some not so much. If you look at the self-driving cars, for example, I hope that could really transform transportation around the world and reduce the need for individual car ownership, the need for parking, road congestion, and so forth. If that was successful in its own right, I'd be super happy. It's obviously still a big bet. It's got many technical and policy risks. But if you are willing to make a number of bets like that, you got to hope that some of them will pay off.
Those are 7 super tips from Google co-founder Sergey Brin. My hope is they help unlock and unleash your inner superpower. Fun facts about Sergey Brin. He was born in Moscow, but he attended, fellow Big Tenor, he attended the University of Maryland in College Park. Motion creates emotion, which creates energy. Momentum tends to stay. Can I just pick it up there?